Okay, so
Okay, so
Carl travels 1,900 kilometers from his home in eastern Ontario to Winnipeg. He travels by bus to Toronto at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour, and then flew to Winnipeg at an average speed of 700 kilometers per hour. His total traveling time was 7 hours. How many kilometers did he travel by bus? How far did he travel by airplane? Okay.
okay.
So I liked what you had set up, and I like your um your let statements. When I see these ones and I see a total amount of time, I think I would have set this up as like I have a time equation and I have a distance. So you're gonna have two equations. When you see these questions, you're gonna have one that's time,
Okay.
right? And one is gonna be about distance.
So like kilometers per hour and then distance traveled.
Yeah, but so like if you remember from like maybe maybe it's grade 10 science where you do, have you ever seen the velocity,
Yeah, I think we did this last year.
right? Yeah, so the velocity or like speed is equal to, so if I cover it up, right? If I cover it up, then I get distance over time, right? So
Yeah.
meters over,
I actually did one with that.
or kilometers per hour, right? So so when I write this, I would have said my let statements let x, x be the time, right? Time on bus,
Mm-hmm.
and let y be the time on plane, right?
Yeah.
So then I can set up, okay, well, I know the total amount of time, right? This is very much like, do you remember where your mixture question was? This is very, very much like this.
Oh, this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I was. That's where I took this from
Right.
because
Very, very similar.
that was annoying to find.
Okay, so I'm gonna let's write the first one first. Let's do time.
Okay.
Okay, so what's the total amount of time? X plus y must equal 7, right?
That's.
Simple. You gotta
I
make it. You
had-
can try and make it easy,
I
right?
had that down, and then because for this to work, this has to be because I had 7 here,
Yes.
and then it was 60 divided by 7 and everything.
Yeah.
Which just didn't work out. I went through all the math. You can see I erased a lot because
Yeah.
I had this as 7. So
The idea is right. The idea, and like whenever you see these questions, if I'm given information on time and distance, right? It looks like, no, I'm given time and I'm given velocities, it looks like, right? Then the remaining one is what I'm probably going to create one of my equations on, the distance, right?
what's that?
So that's my d. It's like v is equal to d over t. So it's kilometers over hours, right? That's your
Mhm.
speed, right?
That's I did a question.
Yeah, it's very
Let's
similar.
look.
Most of these are pretty similar, right? So then that's your first equation, right? Your second equation is going to revolve around the other information that they give you, in this case velocity, right? But I have to turn the velocity information into a distance equation,
Yeah.
right? So I'm interested in the distance because that's what I'm trying to answer ultimately. Kilometers that he traveled by each, right? So I'm going to like say, okay, well, let's go, where's the bus? So the bus is traveling how fast? 60, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 60.
Wait, let me just erase what
Okay.
I've got down.
Okay.
Oh, that's not good. Okay, so what are our let statements here? So there.
I would make your let statements go around time.
So X.
Be time on bus, Y be time on plane. Right? And then when you just add them together, you know the total trip was 7 hours, right?
Yeah.
So that's an easy one. That's an easy equation. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now I have information about the both vehicles' speeds, right? So my second equation, I know I told you, like, well, we can kind of put together because I have to answer how far each of them went. I'm going to kind of want a distance equation, right? So I'm going to take the speed that I'm given for each vehicle. So 60 is for the bus, right? So if I'm given the speed, right? If I'm given the speed, right? What do I have to do in order to get the distance?
Divided by time.
Okay, careful. So we'll do a simple, like, if my units for speed are kilometers per hour, right? How do I just get kilometers out? Because that's ultimately distance, right? How many kilometers? How do I get kilometers from that unit?
Take away the hours.
Exactly. So I want to get rid of the hours. So if I want to get rid of the hours, if I multiply by time,
Okay.
right? So I multiply by the time. Now the h's cancel. So you see, if I take my speed and I multiply by time, I get the units I'm after. So that's how I'm going to create this equation, right? So, but here's the catch. What did I say time represented?
I don't remember.
X was for the
Oh,
bus.
yeah.
Right? So if I take 60 kilometers per hour for the bus and multiply by X, because that's how long I spent on the bus, and add it to the speed of the plane, which is 700, and multiply it by how long I spent on the plane, right? Which I don't know.
Okay.
It was Y.
So I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah, that's okay.
Over I or 1?
Oh, just one, right? That's what I'm just trying to show. Like when I multiply fractions together, it's top times top and bottom.
Oh, yeah.
So then the bottom, like things in the numerator and denominator opposite will cancel, right? So your h's are going to cancel there, and you're
Yeah.
going to be left with just the units of kilometers, which is what I'm trying to do, right? So this whole equation is formulated on distance, right? Because
Yeah.
when I take the speed and I multiply by the time on each vehicle, I get the units of kilometers, which is what I'm trying to answer, right? There's one more piece to this. It's the equals piece. How far did he travel in total?
1900.
Okay, so
kilometers.
that seems like a distance to me, right? Kilometers. So I just go 1900. And this is my distance equation. All right. So now I have two equations, two unknowns. I'm just going to use substitution to solve for each of them respectively. Does that make sense? And then there's one more step at the very end I'll show you. Okay, so what you need to do now is just use your substitution skills to isolate for, I would isolate obviously for x or y in the first equation, and then plug it into the second one and solve for the other one, right? So I would say, okay, well let's isolate for, I don't know, x. Let's go. So x is equal to 7 minus y. Right?
Yeah.
Then I can take that and plug it in for x in the second equation. So I'm actually going to get 60
Yeah.
minus 7 minus y plus 700 y is equal to 1900. And we might have to do a bit of math on that one. Well, maybe not.
Hold on just a second.
No worries. Don't forget the plus sign.
How'd you get this over here?
Oh, what's the distance? So remember, the whole time I'm like trying to create two equations, time and distance, right? So, well, if the question said,
No, this makes sense. Okay.
right? The question said 1900 kilometers was the total distance that he traveled, So because my second equation is about distance, there's the 1900. So that's, right? I'm going to get a distance traveled by bus, and a distance traveled by plane. When I add them together, it better be 1900 because that's the total distance, right?
Yeah.
Okay?
Wow, I spent too long on
Yeah,
this.
so these are all like, there's certain styles, much like the 3 questions we did last week with the optimization. There's certain styles, and like, you always just kind of create your equations based on those styles. This is one of the styles. When I see 2 different vehicles like this, 9 times out of 10, I'd even venture like any of the ones that I've seen or ever done, I can get by operating under this notion. I'm going to make 2 equations, one about time, the second one about distance.
Okay.
And I use this to help me do it. Right?
Yeah.
When I see 2 vehicles like this set up, this is how I attack this question every time. Right? So good. That looks good now. Does that make sense?
I didn't bring my calculator.
That's okay. Let's say what's 6 times 7?
42.
And add a 0. So it's 420. Right? So 420 minus 60y plus 700y is equal to 1900. Right? And then you can bring the 420 over, right? So it's going to be negative 60y plus 700y is equal to 1900. Oh, perfect. Cookies. Awesome. There you go. So we go 1900 plus 420, minus 420, sorry.
Hold on.
Okay, you catch up.
What's up? Oh, thank you. Okay, so
Yeah.
perfect.
Did you get, yeah. Right, that makes sense. The 640?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think so. You're just one step ahead of me. Okay.
Oh,
So 640 y is equal to, what'd you get for the 19?
I
you
haven't
haven't done that yet? Would that be
480. 1,480.
Is that right? 1900 minus 400 would be 1500 minus another 20 is 1480, right? Is that right? Okay, we both got the same thing, right?
Yes.
1480. Okay. And then I can just divide both sides by. Okay.
Yep.
640.
Oh, I forgot to write the y there.
And then y is going to be equal to. We might need the calculator for this one. I got my phone.
It's gonna be like 2.4 or something.
Most of the time, like, it might be 2.5. It might be 2.5. 1480
Yeah, it's going
divided
to be,
by
It's going to
640.
be like.
2.3.
Oh, I was
Really?
close.
1480. Did we do this right? For it not to be. What's Oh, we're all good. I think we're all good.
Great. How much is it? What's the number?
It's 2.3. 2.31 or something.
Okay. And then we just do x is equal to 7 minus 2.3. 7 minus 2.3 is, of course, 4.7.
Was it?
I got x equals 4.7.
Okay. So, now, there's one more to this. So this is good, right? So now, if the question had have asked me, how much time did he spend on each vehicle, we would be done, right? He would have spent 2.3 hours on the
Oh, but
plane and then you would have spent 4.7 hours on the bus.
Yeah, and now you have to see how far he traveled
Yeah,
by
yeah.
doing
So
700 times 4.7 and stuff.
good. Yeah, 700 times
4.
2.31 because that's why.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So good. So we could say distance on bus. You could start with is going to be 60 times x, which is going to equal 60 times 4.7. It worked out to a nice number. Maybe that's the ultimate goal. So 282, and that'll be in kilometers, right? On the bus. And then the distance on the plane.
So 282 is the...
Yeah. Will be 700 y, and that'll be equal to 'too nice for them not to be right. You know what I mean? Now, there is one more final little check we could do.
Have a cookie.
We got an issue. Oh, I put it in the wrong spot. They let me put it in the wrong spot.
Hmm?
Oh, I put in the wrong value for y.
Oh, yikes.
So, this is not going to add to 1900. Not happening. We put in the wrong value.
Dang it was so nice.
Well, it should still work, right? So 60 times 4.7, but what's the y value? I got to plug in 2.31. So 700 times 2.31 is 1617. And then those two added together better be
1900.
yeah. Okay, so what? Okay, so that's this is
We
useful.
rounded someplace.
Yeah, good. Right. So our answer is when I add the two together is 1899 kilometers, right? But because we rounded up here with these two numbers, right?
Yeah.
That's what we got rounding error, right? That's why decimals are no good,
Yeah, they suck.
right? That's why fractions are always good because fractions hold all the decimal values,
Yeah.
right? So there you go. We know we're good. Okay.